In this trade, I used purely just support and resistances and made a total of 35% in just 30 minutes. I'm going to show you how to draw the perfect support and resistances, how to make them more accurate, and show you the secret on how to use them to get winning trades. Let's get straight into it. Support and resistances. One of the first things you learn when you start to trade. I remember my first time drawing a support, and oh boy, have I learned a lot since then. Unlike most of my videos where I go over indicator strategies, this video is going to be about the foundation of trading. I'm gonna be honest, most people do know how to draw support and resistances, but 99% of them don't know how to use them correctly. First things first, you wanna do what I call the top-down approach. This is where you go on a higher time frame than what you normally trade on and draw your support and resistances there. So for example, if you're day trading and are on the 1 minute or 5 minute time frame, you should be going on the 1 hour time frame to draw your levels. There are a lot of reasons for this. One being support and resistances on higher time frames are more accurate and price respects them a lot more, so you won't get as many false breakouts. Nobody likes false breakouts. No! The second reason being is this. If you drew all your support and resistances on a lower time frame, you're gonna have so many lines that you won't even be able to read your chart. You'll end up hesitating a lot more when entering a trade, considering the lines are so close together, you will never have a clear entry. Go on a higher time frame, focus on the major key levels and turning points, and draw your lines there. You should also be updating your levels every single day. Go through your charts and see when the market is paying attention to a level or where it just ignores it and goes right through it. You should be deleting and adding resistances to keep your chart up to date and more accurate. If you're a beginner and are having trouble finding key areas, change your chart to a line graph. It'll make it a little easier to see where the key levels are and where price is holding. Once you draw your levels, change it back to candlesticks and you'll see you're left with really good support and resistances. It's a great way to practice your pattern recognition. Also, you should not expect your lines to have 100% precision, as I'm sure all of you have gone through this.
Alright, I set up my resistance and now I wait. Oh wait. Price broke my resistance. I should enter since it's about to skyrocket up. Enter, enter, enter. Oh
You shouldn't expect 100% precision when dealing with support and resistances. Price action is always volatile, and it won't always respect your lines to the T. Sometimes price will break your resistance or support and do a false breakout. It doesn't necessarily mean that that level isn't working, it just rejected the general area. Believe it or not, you can actually use this to your advantage, as if price does a false breakout to your resistance, you can have a pretty good idea that it will reject downwards to your near support, considering it's showing weakness. This is exactly why I like using zones sometimes. It'll give you some wiggle room for your support and resistances, and you won't get faked out as much. The main point I'm trying to make is that you shouldn't be using support and resistances as an exact science. Use them as general areas to help make decisions. This next step is probably one of the most important tips. Wait for confirmation. What I see so many traders do is this. They go on a higher time frame, find a key resistance, and see price heading towards it. So they make a pending limit order for a short right at the resistance. While this is the right idea, the execution is all wrong.
Wrong! That's wrong!
As sure, this is a key resistance point, but who's to say price won't just break through it like it does here, and then you end up with a losing trade. What you should be doing is wait for confirmation. One way to do that is like this. We found a key resistance on a higher time frame and price just hit it. Instead of prematurely entering, we see that price is creating a trend line heading upwards, and we see a key pivot point right here where price has to break. So instead of entering a short up here, wait for price to break this trend line and key pivot point for confirmation that price is reversing. This is where you would enter your trade. That's just one example, and you can do it so many other ways, but you should be using confirmation signals to really increase your win percentage when using support and resistances. Now it's time to share with you how to make your support and resistances way more accurate. But before we do that, I want to share with you this really cool website I found called Capitalize. Now, remember earlier how we were talking about pivot points? Well, what if you could automate this process and make a trading bot to automatically enter a position when it crosses above a pivot point and close the position, say when the RSI becomes overbought? That would be pretty cool, right? Well, I'm sure you're thinking,
Well, I don't necessarily know how to code or make a bot for that matter.
that's where this website comes into play. They make it really easy to automate trading strategies to where you can type them out in plain English. So for example, you could do, if Bitcoin crosses above the daily pivot point, buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. Then sell $10,000 worth of Bitcoin if the RSI crosses above 70. 70. That's just one simple example, but you can make it so much more complex and add so many different indicators. And the cool thing is, you don't need to know how to code at all. Thought I'd share it with you guys. If you're interested in trying it out, I'll leave a link in my description. Let's get back to the video. The next tip I'm going to share with you guys is use confluence clusters. This tip is huge. Now, you may be asking yourself,
What the hell is a confluence cluster?
what I mean by a confluence cluster is use other indicators like pivot points, VWAP, or moving averages and pair them with your support and resistances. So, for example, we have a moving average and a support in the same exact area. This makes the support way stronger, and we can predict price will respect it a lot more because of this confluence. The more confluences and reasons for price to respect the support or resistance, the better. You should never be using support and resistances by themselves. Let me show you a live example of a winning trade using this strategy. We see prices leveling out and using this support on a higher time frame. Instead of just entering here and expecting price to respect this level, we wait for confirmation in other confluences. So we go to a lower time frame, see a key area price has to break to start trending upwards, add some moving averages and pivot points, and once price breaks all these confirmations, then we enter a trade. So as you can see, price broke all these confirmation signals, we enter a trade, then we make our profit. Support and resistances are such a key part of trading. If done correctly, they can be extremely powerful. If you want to see a more advanced example of using this method of trading, watch this video where I go over some advanced techniques and a specific trade example of using this specific method. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.